Hey guys, so today is my video on downtown LA. Because LA is such a big place, I decided to divide all of my trip up into about 3 to 4 videos specializing on each different section, just so that I can be able to fit everything that I wanted to in the video without making the videos exceedingly long, which is what would have happened if I had to put the entire LA into one video. So I decided against that, and I didn't get to go visit to everything that I wanted to in downtown LA, but I will be when I go back there in the future, and they will be in future videos, of course. And that's all. I hope you guys enjoy this video. We began our journey off by starting to look at the Walt Disney Music Hall, and we had to see this because it was on our way to the main city area, but it was just amazing to absolutely see it. The cheese grater building that you'll see next was called The Broad, and I'm fairly sure it was the contemporary arts area. Not exactly sure because it was heavily priced to get in, and we didn't have enough time to spend looking through museums. But it was, the further we headed into the city, the more we got to know everything, and we got to see this wonderful funicular. Sadly, we didn't get to go on it because we didn't have any cash on hand, and all it was accepting at the time was cash in hand. But when we walked down the stairs, we got to watch it go up a couple of times, and then that brought us to the most amazing food market that we were going to be able to find through our time there. The best thing about it was that it was lit up with so many different neon lights. Everything was just so spectacular. But as you can see, I was a bit of a sweet tooth, so I had to show you guys the lollies that we were seeing. But there was so much different kinds of food that we were going to look at that we were walking past, that it made it a very difficult time to try and actually figure out what we wanted to have for lunch, because of course we had to try and have our lunch here because it would be disappointing not to at least try something there. But because the place was so bloody busy, it was difficult to find anywhere that didn't have too many people and was not going to take us an extremely long time to actually get our food. But so we walked around for quite a while and took photos of quite a few things until we finally figured out where we wanted to eat. The place had a mixture of all these different kinds of foods that you wanted to have. It wasn't just the solely American kind of food. There was Mexican, there was like vegetarian, there was anything that you could probably think of. There was some small section of the market that was dedicated to it. It wasn't like your regular market, so it was all just food based, which, if I'm being honest, that's actually kind of what I always love to enjoy. Anytime that there's food, I will just try and eat as much as I can, but this time I limited myself, and we only had lunch there, and just trying not to spend too much on our first day in LA. So I limited myself to how much I was having, but all in all, it was a most amazing experience to go there.
We made it!
The best thing about LA is exploring all of the inner city buildings and just relishing in all the architecture that they have to offer. Sure, it's nothing like London or anything like that, but there is so much history to these buildings that it's always nice to take in and look at everything. And while I'm on that topic, we went to the last bookstore in LA. Not exactly sure whether it is the actual last bookstore, but that's what the name that it went by, and it was filled with so many books that I had to buy a few of them while I was there because I couldn't help myself, and they were just so tempting. And the best place, it was so many things that it had to offer. It had 2 different levels to it, and there was, as you can see, the tunnel that we were walking through was made of completely out of books. It was both, it looked like a waste, but it was also kind of amazing to walk through. They had these little different stores that shared all these different kinds of artworks and all that kind of stuff, and it made the place it made you feel like you wanted to read more, which was kind of, I think, their idea, was so that they can try and sell more books. But after that, we headed to the government building because we saw it on the way up to the Disney area, but we wanted to check it out closely. And then from there, we were walking along and we went through the legal district because we were heading towards Olvera Street. But seeing all of the old legal buildings made me stop and have to take photos of them, because I'm a stickler for anything that has good architecture with it. A unique train station that LA has to offer is the Union Station, which its building is it makes it feel like it's the Old West kind of style building that you see in all those old and western movies. And so naturally we had to stop and check out Union Station because we wanted to see everything that we possibly could, and this was a highlight that we had been recommended to check, and it was right next to Olvera Street. If I'm saying that correctly, I could be wrong, but it is the Latin Quarter or Spanish section of the city, and it was supposedly, I believe, where the entire city began, and it was amazing to feel that kind of culture. And what better way to do it than to be able to see some older people dancing to Latin music, and just we stuck around and watched it for a while because we in ourselves are a stickler for anything that is Latin dancing or anything of See, who doesn't love watching the old generation dance to some really interesting and happy music? And it just made us really want to get in there and start dancing as well. But we would have felt a little bit out of place, so we held off and just watched them dance for a while. But the next best part was for us to go to the actual part of Olvera Street and look at the market. It seems to be a market that appears every single night, and it has anything and everything to do with all like the old Spanish culture. You've got the Day of the Dead skulls, you've got Frida Kahlo and all that kind of stuff. Just everything just tied in, all these different bags, all these different wrestling masks that you can get. Anything that you can kind of think of that you would attach or associate with the Spanish culture or like kind of like Mexican culture. It seemed to be at this marketplace, which in and of itself was amazing to see, and it is one of the places that I would love to go back, and we were actually planning on going back and visiting it at a later period of time, but time just seemed to get away from us and we seemed to not be able to actually get back to it. But if I'm ever going back to LA, Olvera Street is one of the places that I would highly recommend going, and I will most definitely be back there to see everything and just experience the culture and just experience everything again, because it it was nothing like we have in Australia, like quite, because it's so old in comparison to, it's probably older than most of the stuff that we have in Australia. So being able to actually visit there and see all the different things and all the kinds of stuff that's just there, it was just amazing. But the best part is just, I reckon, of any trip is being able to experience the culture that is there. Sometimes you might not even expect to find it there, but it's just in and of itself, it can be an amazing thing to find. Anything that's unexpected and you can find along the way is always, you're gonna take home with you a lot more than if you have something more planned, and then you just experience that. But this, it was just an amazing experience. And then that's just downtown LA. There's so much more that we could have done in the rest of the place, and LA in itself is so huge that we have to you have to spend so much time there, and it's just amazing to be able to actually see all these places and experience them for yourself. And that's all that I have for this video. I hope that you really enjoyed it, and I have been trying out the new voiceover to see if it can do any good. And if you thought it was good, just send me a message, or if you think if there's any helping points, just send them through as well. I hope you enjoyed this video again, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, stay safe. Peace.